Hi, Steve Arterburn here, and before the program starts, I wanted to tell you about a special $400,000 matching gift campaign that's going on right now. All donations through the end of May will be doubled until the $400,000 match is met. If you've ever considered donating to New Life, I'm just asking you to do it today. The impact of this gift is going to be doubled. There's no better time than now. And if you're able to give $100 or more, I'm going to be happy to send you a copy of the just released, it is absolutely incredible, Every Woman's Bible. There are 3 easy ways to give to this match. You can give online at newlife.com/donate, or you can text the word match to 28950, or just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you for making a difference in the lives of others. Today, you can make a double difference. Now let's get on with the program today.
Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Hello, everyone. We're so grateful that you joined us today. And today's show, we're going to be answering some questions. And we've got Dr. Alice Benton, a psychologist and an author, as well as Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris, who's also a psychologist, professor, a veteran, and a nurse. I mean, she's got all the hats. And, you know, we want you to call us because we want to help you. And we know that there is help available. Jacqui, what's on your mind today? What would you have to share with us?
So I've been thinking about the ways in which we don't take care of ourselves. We had a women's seminar a couple of months ago, and we talked about comparison. And I hear so often how women are pitting themselves against one another, and how little love we show ourselves. And even in Christianity, where we have a call to, love God with all our heart, soul, and mind, and love others as ourselves. And the self is getting left out of that. And so I've just been thinking a lot about how do we navigate self-love, like I am okay, I am enough, and loving every iteration of myself because I was doing the best I could at the time. And that version of me was a part of the journey to this version of me, and I love this version of me. And so I'm working at loving the past versions of me that maybe didn't make the choices that I would make now, because I survived whatever that season was. And so I'm wondering what it's going to take for people to be able to give themselves permission to accept themselves. Self-acceptance and self-love, I think, go before healing. Because before I accepted the truth of my story and how it impacted me and how the kinds of choices I made to cope, I would not do anything because I hadn't accepted anything. And once I accepted that these were truths about me, and that is why I was so emotionally avoidant, then I could risk showing up emotionally in order to start to do the work to heal. And so I've just been thinking about, let's move away from the competition. I have a t-shirt that says, I am my only competition. I'm not competing against anybody else in the world. God put me here for a reason, and I'm striving to live that purpose and love myself in the process.
I love that. It's talking about saying a new story.
Yes.
And that acceptance is not agreement or approval. It just is. This is just what it is. And today we just did a devotional today here at New Life, and we talked about how Christ in me is the hope of glory, and that we have to integrate what God says about us. And there's, we're salt, we're light, we are made new. I love that. Yeah. That is self-love. And that way we can love others because we are filled with Christ's love. I love that, Jacqui. Well, I love hearing from our callers too. And we're going to hear from some right after this break. 1-800-229-3000 is how you reach us. We are looking forward to hearing from you right after this.
our marriage was just so toxic and just so many simple interactions that turned into conflict. And so we signed up to participate in the workshop.
This is Steve Arterburn. Our Intimacy in Marriage workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The tools that we received from the Intimacy in Marriage workshop were tremendous. It was so much that we were able to take and utilize and actually come back and apply.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you always want.
The next Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is July 26th through the 28th in Washington, D.C. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Best decision we could have ever made. There's no price that we can put on having healthy marriages.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are so grateful that you trust us with your calls because we know that there is hope and there's help for your life. Right now, we are going to talk to Ashley, who's calling us from Denton, Texas, listens on KWRD. Hello, Ashley. Thanks for waiting. How can we help you today?
Sure. I was just wondering if you had any tips. I'm a very extreme empath just from growing up with traumatic childhood. I started picking up on emotions of other people. But with that said, just being around all these events, we have graduations and this party and that party and baby showers, they just wear me out. I'm not a people person. Believe it or not, I'm a coach, so I love children. But, these relationships, they carry through past high school, and it's just, it overwhelms me, it overstimulates me, and then I don't want to be around my husband and spend time with him. And I know that sounds bad, but it's just because I literally get peopled out, and I just need time to myself. And I do see a psychologist, and he says that I'm probably like a 1 autism, but I haven't ever been tested, and that's fine. I don't, that's beyond the point, I guess. But I do get overstimulated by crowds and people, and I'm just curious if you have any tips to help.
Ashley, have you ever heard of the phrase highly sensitive person?
No, but I think that would be me.
Yes. So it just might be helpful to educate yourself on what that is. There's a website, hsperson.com, and I think it can be developed by exactly what you described. The wonderful thing about Elaine Aron, who wrote the Highly Sensitive Person book, is she shared her own experiences. Apparently only 20% of the world is highly sensitive, and basically we feel and experience at a higher vibration, a higher volume than the rest of the world. And so it is a lot. You are taking in a lot, and you can do some care for yourself that can help you to be able to tolerate, and also do some things to release. We were just talking on the break about self-care and getting a massage. I will zone out into fantasy fiction. I love reading or listening to books. What you are experiencing, you are actually experiencing. So you have to put some things in place. Once you accept yourself with love, then you can start to put some things in place to help you navigate those times when you are overstimulated, and being honest with yourself and the people around you. And so that you can say, you know what, this is my bandwidth. And so I'm not going to be able to do that today. And pad things in your life so that you are accommodating yourself and treating yourself with love, because you are really feeling more than others are, and they don't know that. So they're going to keep pouring their emotion out onto you, and you're going to keep sponging it up.
That's good. Alice?
Right.
Ashley, I wonder how considerate your husband is about this characteristic of yours. And is he doing anything unsafe or disruptive that is hurtful to you, makes it hard for you to be around him?
He's a pleaser, and I listen to your show daily, so I've realized he's a pleaser because he's a controller, and he tries to control my emotion by pleasing me, because that means that if that makes sense. I mean, and I actually learned that from you guys, and my therapist confirmed it. And so he understands it, but at the same time, he doesn't get it because he's so analytical and doesn't feel. He's not a feeler, you know. And his mom's the same way. So whenever it's back-to-back things, you know, they don't really understand. I'm overstimulated, and I really can't handle more stress right now. Like just being around people, you know?
Well, and Ashley, that's probably what attracted you to him because he didn't express a lot of emotions, you know? So
yes, I should have listened to the show before and gotten the tools with this earlier.
Oh, Ashley, I hope you'll add to the good things you're doing an audit of your exposure level to people to find out where can I lower my exposure and where can I add in breaks from people, including maybe breaks from your husband. So identify what do you need from him in order to have the right level of break. And you might need to be in a room alone. You might need him to not talk with you sometimes, and coming up with an agreement with him at a time that you have the energy to do it might help him accept it, because that could be hard for him to hear. That could feel hurtful for him, but it may help you all in the long run to have that agreement. And then with your psychologist, I'm sure you're continuing to check on any of the unresolved past that you're still carrying, because the accumulation of history may be depleting you in a way that doesn't allow you to have that present day energy that you need for all these people in your life.
Yeah. You know, and I was also...
Everybody is...
Go ahead, Ashley.
I'm sorry. I just think it's because everybody sucks my energy. It's almost like they can tell that I'm an empath. So when they come to me, you know, as a coach, like I know everything about them, and I don't really want to know everything about them. They just spill, and I don't know how to kindly be like, I'm sorry, I can't handle this right now.
Well, because then you feel bad about having to put that boundary up too, Ashley. That's the confusion that you experience when the emotions overrun. The other thing I hear, just like what you were just saying, Alice, is that actually the accumulation of the guilt for feeling is affecting you. You mentioned, I feel bad because my husband, you know, all of this. And so learning how to kind of dispel that in some way is going to be part of that. Jacqui?
Okay.
No, go ahead.
There's some
it was Alice.
There's some assertiveness practice here that will serve you. Ashley, when I read boundaries, and part of the recommendation was to be able to say to a person, I've got 30 seconds. I can give you 30 seconds and then I have to leave. And then to actually leave, it blew my mind to know we can say that to people, and then I can walk away even if they're not done talking. I could say, okay, I gotta go. I can talk with you later. It shocked me. And then it took a long time for me to actually be able to practice that with people. But Ashley, when I know my limits and I give up to my limit and then I stop, I'm a much more generous, loving listener versus when I was people pleasing all over the place and stretched too thin. I became an angry helper and an angry listener because I was giving beyond my capacity. So if you haven't yet, read Boundaries. You'll be astounded by what we can say no, not yet, or I've got to wait till later to other people's requests.
Yeah, my kids.
Do you have
that book? I need to get.
Definitely get into it. If you don't have it?
Get into it. Yes, I have started. I do. Yes, I did get it because I know that I do struggle with boundaries, and I just need to get my head into it.
Yeah,
I need to finish it.
I really agree with what Alice said. It's so important for you to be able to set boundaries and say, I don't have the bandwidth. I work with a lot of high intensity couples, and so Monday through Thursday, I'm probably not going to have the bandwidth. So what I commit to for myself is the weekends, even if I am tired, if there's anything my husband wants to do or watch, I'm committed to the time, making sure I'm spending the time. Throughout the week, some of the things he's learned that I need is when I come into the room at the end of the day and 12 lights are on in one room, I'm going to start turning them off because I'm overstimulated. I want the sound of things to be lowered. So I put earbuds in my ear. I keep earplugs in my purse. So if I'm in an environment that's too loud, I can put my earplugs in. I can still hear, it just turns it down. Even if it's just cotton balls, you can find ways to soothe yourself. Clothing, there are some days where I had to go and get something different to wear because I was wearing a new outfit that maybe somebody bought me and it was uncomfortable on my skin. So there are a lot of sensory things you're experiencing that you can change so that you're really comfortable. I get teased when I travel because I am taking my pillow and my blanket because I know that I need that to have a good trip. Otherwise, I'm going to come home and I'm going to be tense, and it's going to take me days to recover from the trip rather than the couple of hours of sleep that it really should. So I really do encourage you, read the Boundaries book, but also look into Elaine Aron and the Highly Sensitive Person. I think that you're going to benefit from that. And your husband too. When you take the quiz, have him be there.
Ashley, do you have How We Love so as helpful. Well?
I don't think.
Well, we're going to send that to you because I was determined to send you a book, and so we're going to overstimulate you with a book. But just like what Jacqui you were talking about, they actually do sell earbuds for sound dispersion. It's not it's for highly sensitive people or people who get overwhelmed. So take a look into that. But Ashley, we're grateful that you called, and hopefully that will help. And we look forward to hearing good news from you. We're going to continue on with the calls, and we're going to talk with Marcos, who's calling us from Leesburg, Virginia, WAVA. Hello, Marcos. Thanks for waiting. How can we help you today?
Yes. Hello. How are you today? Good. Thanks. I have been married with actually more than 23 years now. I have 3 kids, but actually the intimacy and the relationship between me and my wife actually over like 16 years wouldn't have any this relationship between me and her at all. So sometime in the point I feel like she's kind of stranger for me.
Marcos, you said for 16 years of the 23-year marriage, you've not had any
intimacy.
When you intimacy, you mean emotional connection or sexual connection?
Actually, physical connection, sexual connection, not at all. Yeah.
Okay. Marcus, what happened 16 years ago? Was there a rupture, a trauma, a loss?
I don't know. It's kind of like when we moved to different house, it was no room to can be like me and my wife together. So it was just suddenly I feel like I want to be by myself. And I feel like she's not really encouraging me or have any desire for me to be with her anymore. And to have this feeling actually over 16 years was, it's really, I don't know, it's a kind of, it's really hard, and I really struggle with this point.
Marcus, Marcus, it's been so lonely and confusing for almost 2 decades. When you've asked your wife to come into counseling with you, how has she responded?
Well, I talked to the priest in the church, and they told me you need to seek for counselor psychotherapy, or just some of the priests, they told me just live your life like that as a holy life without any physical. But I feel like I can struggle with that. It's too hard.
Yeah, and that might work for the priest. But
right.
And one time I was honest with her. I told her if we don't have the kids here in the house, I will leave the house. I can't live like that. But she's kind, but she's very cold to that relationship. She doesn't like to have this relationship at all. She's completely different than me. Well, this is why I struggle. I feel like it's, I don't know. Maybe
Marcos,
right person to feel my emotion. Yeah.
Well, we hear your emotions and we love your tenderness. And I think it's interesting because couples can get into this routine like you asked a great question, Alice, like what happened? And you said it, Marcos. You moved into a house where intimacy was going to be a challenge because of there wasn't a lot of privacy. But let's help Marcos move forward in this situation. Alice, you want to start?
Well, Marcus, I would have you again attempt vulnerable conversation with your wife by letting her know, I'm struggling with our setup the way that it has been. I'm not sure if you are, but I really want us to work on this because I don't want to lose what we have had, the good that we had previously. And so would you be willing to read a book with me? Would you be willing to come to counseling with me? I want it to be better than this, and I think that it can be. That kind of appeal to intimacy can sometimes get through somebody's standoffishness and defensiveness. Threats, on the other hand, can make them back away into a corner even more. When we come back from the great break, Marcus, we can share some other ideas and other strategies with you about how to go about trying to invite your wife into something better and different.
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on, Marcos.
Yeah.
We will come back after this break. Don't hang up. We're going to hear from Jacqui as well. Marriage is challenging, but when we can do the more difficult thing, it can be so rewarding. And we want to help you do that. We're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back with the calls. newlife.com is where you can find some answers.
My husband was involved with pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Intensive is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
There were strip clubs. My husband is a recovering sex addict.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, July 12th through the 14th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Daniel Grossman on coaching.
Coaches are really focused on the future and helping people to develop those skills and those strategies to help them move forward in their life. A coach really partners with you to focus on things like personal growth or health goals, spiritual growth, helping you develop in your career or possibly strengthening your relationships or maybe even breaking free from a negative pattern.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches use different techniques. Some like to use strategic questions and accountability, ultimately empowering you to take those next steps towards your goals.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a New Life coach today.
I really believe that everyone can use a coach in their corner.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I just want to encourage you, if you didn't know, we have our Emotional Freedom Intensive. It's online June 1st, and Jacqui Mack-Harris is one of our speakers, as well as Chris Williams and Steve Arterburn. If you're stuck in life or have unhealthy patterns of behavior impacting your ability to live a full life, join us on June 1st. We have the speakers, and then we have the breakout groups that are led by New Life therapists, and it can be a day of transformation. And I just want you to join us. You can go to newlife.com to find the information, or just call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Right now we are talking with Marcus, and he's been married for about 23 years, and the physical intimacy in their marriage stopped about 16 years ago, and they're just kind of stuck, and he's feeling sad about this. So Jacqui, let's start with you. How can we help them get reconnected?
Well, Marcos, I agree with what Alice said about making the appeal to your wife again, and that making that invitation to doing couples therapy, and just with a soft startup of, it's not an attack, it's not a criticism of you, but I just think we can be better than this. But we need tools on how to find our way back to each other. It sounds as though you had children over a period of years, and you were engaged physically up until 16 years ago, and then the problem became, oh, well, the kids are too close by, we don't have the privacy, and now the kids are starting to maybe age out of the house, maybe they're getting to the point where they're not around as much, and still nothing is happening. But you have to find each other again, and so you guys have been like neighbors, like roommates, like friends, but that intimate part, now that has to be bred again. You have to actually work towards creating desire and arousal again. And so my recommendation for you, Marcos, would be for you to get into individual therapy to process what this has been like for you for 16 years, because as you're trying to re-engage your wife, there may be some bitterness and resentment that you're carrying that might bleed through in the conversations. And so I think it would be helpful for you to be able to process what this has been like for you and what you really want to invite her to going forward.
I love that.
Marcus, when we're in pain, it's so easy to lash out and point out, you did this. But then my strengths, these are the good things that I've tried to do. That's just normal human default. And I praise that you are trying to figure this one out. You've talked to a priest. You've done things to try to heal this relationship. But if we reveal our pain in abrasive ways, it deteriorates the attachment even more, the connection even more. So I want you to look for humble confessions that you can make that might draw your wife in towards you. And there's one thing you said that left me with one little clue. You told her once, if we didn't have kids, I would leave. And although I see the truth in that, and you had reason to say that, that may have been a frightening threat to her, and it may have been hurtful. So to be able to say now, with these appeals that Jacqui and I are talking about, I know I've said things that have been harsh and have been hurtful to you. And so I want to work on that, and I want to find out how my behavior has been affecting you for all these years. So Marcus, check whether or not there have been periods where you've been withdrawn, where maybe you've been avoidant. I sure would if I were in your shoes, feeling so hurt and lonely for all those 16 years, and being able to admit that, it both models for your wife so that hopefully she follows suit and will make some admissions on her own, but it will probably also soften her to what you're asking of her.
I love that. Marcus, we're going to be in your area in July with our Intimacy in Marriage Intensive, and it would be a great opportunity for you and your wife to join us there and do some deep work for the weekend. We have helped so many couples. We're going to send you a copy of How We Love as well, because along the lines of what both Jacqui and Alice are talking about, that reconnection is, it's so valuable to that physical connection. It's, it's not either or, it's both and. And we're so grateful that you called, and we'll be praying for this situation. We know that it's difficult. We are going to go back to the calls. We're going to continue taking calls. We're going to talk to Debbie, who's calling us from Toronto and listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Debbie. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Oh, yes. Thank you for taking my call. I am wondering what I can do for my adult son. He's got a family, and I believe he has OCD. It's never been diagnosed as that, but he's been struggling in the past couple of years, and I just want to help him, and how can I help him?
What's one of the ways you see him struggling?
Okay, like he'll call me, and he'll tell me that, Mom, I just can't, I come home from work and I just can't do anything else. He's just procrastinating, like he's usually the first person to cut his lawn on the block, and now it's like he's the last person, and he just doesn't have the get up and go.
Debbie, do you know, has he been through some difficult things that then led to maybe this change in behavior? He used to mow the lawn first, not anymore. What's a hardship he's been going through?
Yeah, well, one thing that he does tell me is that now that his children are older and one is in university, and he just doesn't have that, his family all home and everything just nicely bound together, Now he's off on his own, and that's really taken a toll on him. All these changes with my dynamics.
Debbie, you can hear the music. We are going to take a break, but don't go anywhere because we're going to hear from Alice and Jacqui on this. But your son's in a new chapter in his life, and it can create all these feelings that you're describing. We will be back with some help right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are in the middle of a conversation with Debbie, who's calling because she's concerned about her adult son. He seems to be in procrastination mode where he once used to be very into his life and very productive, but there's been a lot of changes. The kids have started to move on to university and such. And so, Debbie, you're wanting to know how to encourage him or how to help him. And so let's hear from you, Jacqui, first.
Debbie, you said that he has a kid that's gone away to university. Are there any kids at home still?
Yes, there's the youngest one, and he's in high school.
So there's not as much hands-on need for dad as there used to be, and he may not have really prepared for that. He may be in a season of grief. And when our children transition to adulthood and they launch well, which it sounds like his children are doing, they don't need as much from us, and we have to now transition. And there's just like there was no handbook for how to keep them safe as a toddler, there's really nothing to help tell us how to make the transition when they go into adulthood. And you have so much less control, but I think it's even more nerve-wracking because the problems are so much bigger that they can get into. And so he could probably use a group that he can connect with, a group of men that he can talk this out with. There are other men who experience what he is experiencing. When I hear people talk about the empty nester syndrome, I think they're usually referring to women. Your role as mom is not there anymore, and that's really hard. But dads experience that as well. And so he may be going through a time of depression, or maybe it's just a situational grief, and that's got him demotivated and feeling low, and he doesn't have any energy, and he's not finding joy in things because he's sad, because his life isn't what it used to be, and he may have to lovingly accept this season of his life and who he is, and then start to think about, okay, what's next for me? What's next for us? Because the kids don't necessarily need me as much. I have some free time. I remember the day when my daughter got her driver's license and was gone. They didn't come with us to dinner after church anymore. They're like, oh, no, we'll stop at Little Caesars and get a pizza. We're like, what? So it took us a while to catch up to them, in that they are now having their own lives, and older sisters driving younger sisters, so I don't even need to do anything with her. And I had to find other ways to spend that time, and it was a good time for my husband and I to find our way back to each other, and to be engage in becoming each other's primary focus, because for a very long time the children were the center of our universe. And I think he may be just grieving this transition, and having a group or his own counselor could help him through that.
Okay. And what about his OCD? Is there anything that I can read to help him through that part of it?
Well, I think we do have understanding and loving a person. Well, we don't have one with obsessive compulsive disorder, but I'm going to send you a copy of well, we have one for depression, which I think could help as well. But, one thing I want to ask, though, Debbie, before we go back to Alice is, Debbie, is he married? Is his wife in the house?
Yes.
Okay. Is there, and so there may be.
His wife, I'm sorry. His wife is in the house, and it's causing her a lot of distress as well.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Alice.
She just doesn't know what else to do.
And if his lack of motivation is going to extremes where he's not paying the bills, he's missing work, maybe he's not getting up out of bed, if it's going to those levels, then that may be a more significant form of clinical depression that could possibly necessitate psychiatric help, a medication evaluation. And there are really good, very safe medications to treat both depression and anxiety that can have a quick result over the first couple weeks. You get to a therapeutic dosage. So I'd consider making that recommendation to him, especially if you're seeing this get worse over time. I do want to praise you, Debbie, that you have a good enough relationship with your son, and he's open enough that he's admitting, I can't do anything after work. It speaks very highly of his level of honesty and the safety in the relationship, that he's aware and he's talking about it, because those two things are necessary for improvement to happen. So I want to take pressure off of you in that it is not yours to fix, even though we moms feel that urge and pull to fix it. So in order to step out of, if you feel the pressure to fix it, you can be a good listener to him, and then you can ask him, what do you want from me, son, with your struggle to get things done? Find out if he has an answer for you about that. We have Emotional Freedom coming up really soon here on June 1st, and Emotional Freedom could help him to unpack why he's feeling this way, how much it has to do with the grief about his children. And then it gives him that automatic group support that we're talking about here today of other men who could help him process this.
We'll give you that information, Debbie, that you can pass along. I agree totally with what you just said, Alice, about the medical checkup, because there could be something physiological going on that he's unaware of, as well as all of the other social things that we're talking about. But you are a good mom. You get Mom of the Year award today. Yeah. We are so grateful that you called, Debbie, and we'll be praying about that situation with your son and his family. We're going to go back to the calls, and we're going to talk with Jesse, who's calling us from Euless, Texas, listens on KWRD. Hello, Jesse. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Yes, hi. Good afternoon. I attend a church, a very large church, and I wanted to go. I went to their counseling program in church, biblical counseling, and I attended a couple of sessions, and then they when I went back to what I thought would be my third session, they just notified me that I would need to find counseling outside, and I've had some psychiatric treatment in the past, and I just wondered if they had picked up on something, but I had not been able to get any answer from them about why. They won't allow me to really speak to a pastor, and it's such a big church, I don't know who my pastor really would be. There's the name associated with the church, but I obviously can't. He didn't have time for that, to counsel everyone in the big church, such a large church. And I just feel like I just feel abandoned, like they dropped me. And I've just been trying to. I left medicine after I graduated medical school years ago. I was taking my board exams for licensure, and I prayed to the Lord, if you don't want me to pursue medicine, to continue, because I was feeling. And at that same time, I'd walked away from the Lord. So I was living a prodigal life, half in the Lord, half in the world. And anyway, God confirmed it, I thought. And I came to the church, and I wanted to do ministry, and I'm all mixed up now, and I don't even know what to do. And
I'm so sorry.
And I had some church issues before that, but I came back to the church because I know Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. I know He is.
Jesse.
Yes.
I just had a thought.
Okay.
You were wondering if they asked you to find an outside therapist because they noticed something, and so you're concerned that they noticed something and they're not sharing it. I had the thought that the church might be a part of your challenge with leaving, walking away and coming back, and church hurt, and whether I'm supposed to do ministry or not do ministry. And so it might not provide the best space for you to do the work you need to do it at a church, to do biblical counseling. We have church things that we do, and so I do biblical counseling, but that looks different than when I do psychotherapy. And so they may be trying to encourage you to go to a higher level of care, and it sounds like that is exactly what you need. You're stuck, you're confused, you're feeling alone and abandoned, and this sounds like maybe not the first time you felt that abandonment, and emotional freedom would probably be a great help to you as well.
Oh, that's a great idea. Jesse, hold on, because you can hear the music. We'll hear from Alice after this break. But, it's tough when you're struggling with, whether it's mental illness or a situational, emotional thing, to think that the church would be able to provide, just like what you said, Jacqui. But it's also so important for us to be clear about why we're not continuing care, because we want to help people find the best next step for what they need, and we're going to try and do that for you, Jesse. We're going to take a quick break. I want to remind everybody we're in the middle of the matching gift campaign. You heard Steve talk about it. Now is the time to give. You can give at newlife.com/donate. We'll be right back.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you. Or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I was rushing through the matching gift information, and I just want to say you can text the word match to 28950. And when you support the matching gift with a donation of $100 or more, we'll send, if you request it, the newly released Every Woman's Bible, which Misty Arterburn helped edit. And if you request it, we'll send it to you. We're talking with Jacqui, who reached out to the church for some help and support, and is just kind of hurt by the fact that there wasn't good communication about what to expect and the care that he would receive with their counseling service. We were in the middle of that conversation. Alice, let's go back to you.
Well, Jesse, I'm so frustrated for you that you hit another confusing closed door. And if there was no explanation, that's not right. There should have been a clear explanation of why that third session was canceled. And I find that two things tend to happen, Jesse, when a person is ready and willing to get help and pursues it. I think in this very broken world, we just hit up against dead ends because that's how this world functions. And that can stop us in the progress because then I want to give up. I tried. Why didn't that work? And we can blame God for it. I don't think you are, but I think it's a very natural tendency of, God, I was going for the right good thing. And where were you? Why did that third session end? But I don't doubt that the enemy also wants to keep us from the good help that we're going after. And so I just challenge and encourage you, please persevere. Don't give up because that door closed. God will open a better door for you if you will keep knocking. I might gently persist one or two more times to that church counseling center to just say, I'm not calling to restart services here, but I just want to find out, did I do something? Was something going wrong in my sessions because of which you canceled? Because I'm working on myself and I'm trying to figure out, why does this keep happening to me? Is it me? Or is it something on the side of the counselor? So I would ask one or two more times. I would also try to get feedback, Jesse, from other people who know you and love you. Because I think you are both an innocent victim of things just not working out for you, and that's not your fault. But as we try to grow, it's also important for us to figure out, how do I influence these situations? Am I too much? Was I abrasive and I didn't realize it? Why do these doors keep closing? Why do people say no when I want to get help and offer my help? So get gentle feedback from people that know you. And when I do this, Jesse, I recommend asking in two ways. Would you give me 3 positive things about me? What am I doing well? And 3 negatives. How do I step on people's toes? How do I get in the way of people when I'm trying to be in relationship with them? But be cautious about who you ask for that feedback from.
Is that helpful, Jesse?
Yes. Excuse me. Yes, it really is. And you know, I'm at a place, I've been at a place for many years where, I walked away from medicine and I was already accepted to surgical residency because I felt that would be taking me back to what God really called me to do. And when I was in medicine and studying, I wonder sometimes maybe if that wasn't just something I convinced myself was my calling, and maybe I just missed it. And I'm willing to admit that if God were to just give me an answer, and it often doesn't work this easily, but if he just said, okay, go to Africa, treat patients, that's what you do. Okay, God, I'll get a ticket. I'm going. I just don't know what to do, where to go.
Well, you know what, Jesse? We believe that it is more than just you and God. We tell people this all the time. Yes, God is all sufficient, but he also wants us to be in community. And, you know, the Trinity is the perfect small group. So you don't want it to be just you and God. We want you to have community as well. We'll get you connected with a counselor in your area as well as a life recovery group. I love Jacqui's suggestion of joining us for the Emotional Freedom Online intensive, which I think could help you. And, you know, we're so grateful that you called. And I do love what you were talking about too, Alice, as far as checking back with them, because any insight we can gain helps us move forward in our life. And so we're grateful that you called, Jesse. We hope that that's helpful. Go ahead, Alice.
Becky, if I think Jesse mentioned psychiatric issues, Jesse, I want you to reconsider your medication if you're taking it, and make sure you're checking in with a really good psychiatrist, because if we are dealing with any mental health disorder, it can skew our perspective of the world, and it leaves us making assumptions or feeling things that may not be accurate to the current day situation. And so a good medical evaluation can help you readjust so that you've got that on the right track as well.
I love it. It just goes to show you that you want to check all of the boxes. And you know what? You may have to check them over and over again. It may not be just one and done. And even like an earlier call today where they had said that the counselor wasn't helpful. And we talk about the fact that we want you to talk to the people who are providing care. In this situation, Jesse wasn't able to have that conversation because he was kind of cut off. And so, you know, it's really important to have these dialogues in your care. Now, we only have a few minutes, but, you know, we talk about how you can ask a question at other times. And you can go to newlife.com/radio, and we've got some information there. But I got a quick question. I know that you guys will have a quick answer. The question from Marie says, I've held so tightly to God's promises for my children. Why does it seem a promise was broken? Her son took his own life because of the severe pain of mental illness, and we were powerless to help. Though our family tried so hard, he leaves behind 5 siblings and us who are grieving. And I know that's not a quick response, but still, how can we give Marie some hope in this time?
Well, one, just my heart grieves for that loss, and the double loss of losing the son, but also losing the faith in God's promises. That, you know, the sense that he broke a promise to you, it's just got to be devastating. I would go back to that scripture, and whatever your list of promises were from God, I would explore that more. God's promises are still true, and bad things happen. God's promises are true, and we have free will. And as much as we pray for things to go a particular way, our prayers are known to us and known to and responded by God. But the person you were praying for was going through something else. They were on a different channel. And so they weren't a part of that dream that you were having for them. They were dealing with some different darkness, and they weren't into it, and they had choices because we have free will. And so I would go back and read through those promises and reconnect myself with God as I'm grieving in that grief. And I would ask the questions, God, speak to my heart. What did I miss here? What went wrong? And so that you can start to answer questions for yourself, because it's also may sound like it may feel like you did something. You didn't pray hard enough, or you weren't faithful enough, or you weren't a good enough Christian for him to respond to you. And that's just not true.
Alice?
Murray, please make sure you also have places where you can get very angry with God, with yourself, with your husband, even with your child that took their life. because being angry is a normal, natural part of dealing with this horrific loss, one of the worst things that a parent can go through. And it helps us to move through our grief by letting ourselves get angry, even with God, which can seem sacrilegious. But David gives us a good example in the Psalms of saying, I don't know where you are, God. I don't know where you're fulfilling these promises, because it sure doesn't look like it right now in my life. It's okay to talk like that. It's okay to feel that way. And I've got to say something tough. Like, God doesn't promise to sustain our lives. He doesn't promise to keep us alive. He doesn't promise that he'll make our children make good choices. Instead, he promises there will be struggle, and there will be death, and there will be sin. All that is also part of our lives, and he doesn't promise that away. So grieve and be angry, and we'll be praying for you.
We certainly will, Marie. And, you know, if you have a struggle similar to what Marie's talking about, or anybody that we've talked to today, please call us. We are available. You can go to newlife.com. You can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you, Jacqui. Thank you, Alice. We'll see you next time.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.